You don't understand, little Thomas. We tender engines have a position to uphold. You haven't a tender, and that makes a difference. So it doesn't matter where you go. But we are important. And for the Fat Controller to make us shunt trucks, fetch coaches, and go on some of those dirty sidings, well, it's not the proper thing.
When Gordon arrived at Vickerstown, he waited until all the passengers had got out, and then, groaning and grumbling, he shunted the coaches to another platform.
Disgraceful! Disgraceful!
Gordon hissed as he moved onto the turntable. The turntable was in a windy place. It was only just big enough for Gordon, and if he was not on it just right, he put it out of balance and made it difficult to turn. Today, Gordon was in a bad temper, and the wind was blowing fiercely. His driver tried to make him stop in the right place. Backwards and forwards they went, but Gordon wasn't trying. At last, Gordon's driver gave up. The fireman tried to turn the handle, but Gordon's weight and the strong wind prevented him. The driver, some plate layers, and the fireman all tried together.
It's no good, Gordon. Your tender upsets the balance. Now, if you were a nice tank engine, you'd be alright. Now, you will have to pull the next train backwards.
Hey look, come quick. There's a new tank engine.
Oh, it's only Gordon back to front.
Oh, so it is. What a swizz.
Could this day get any worse?
Hello, Gordon. Playing tank engine, I see. Sensible engine. Take my advice. Scrap your tender and have a nice bunker instead.
Sucks to be you, Gordon.
Take care, little James. You might stick too.
No fear. I'm not as fat as you. Oh dear, I mustn't stick.
James stopped on just the right place to balance the turntable. It could now swing easily.
Is it just me or is this table turning faster? Ah, nuts.
I could watch this all day. Well. Are you playing roundabouts, little James?
Come along, Henry. It's time your train was ready.
Henry's going nowhere. We won't shunt like common tank engines, sir. That was Thomas's job. We are important tender engines. You fetch our coaches, and we will pull. Tender engines don't shunt.
Oh, indeed. We'll see about that. Engines on my railway do as they are told. The yard has never been the same since Thomas left to run his branch line.
Later, after the day's work was done, Edward puffed to the sheds feeling rather pleased with his work. But Henry, Gordon and James did not look happy at all.
Good evening, you three. Everything all right?
No, everything is not all right.
Oh, why?
Well, Edward, you've been shunting our trains today, but you're a tender engine, and tender engines don't shunt.
That's just rubbish, Henry. Of course, tender engines shan't.
Of course you would think that. And if that's the case, I don't think you're a proper tender engine at all.
Not a proper tender engine. Let me tell you.
Oh, be quiet and go to sleep.
But Edward felt quite hurt. The next morning, when Henry, Gordon and James woke up, they realised their crew hadn't come yet.
Wait, where are our crews? Our trains are due out soon.
Well, Gordon, I can answer that. They are not coming.
What?
I've heard that you've been extremely rude to Edward, saying he's not a real tender engine because he shunted your trains. And I can't have that sort of attitude on my railway. So as a punishment, you three are being shut up until further notice.
What?
Enough! Now, if you excuse me, I must speak to Thomas, Edward and Percy.
Henry, Gordon and James stayed shut in the shed and were cold, lonely and miserable. They wished now they hadn't been so silly. They were shut up for several days. At last, after a whole week, the Fat Controller came by.
I hope you are sorry and understand you are not so important after all. Thomas, Edward and Percy have worked the line very nicely. They need a change, and I will let you out if you promise to be good.
Yes, sir.
We will.
That's right. But please remember that this no shunting nonsense must stop.